Did everyone take the opportunity to sign up for Twitter? Did you? Okay. All right, if you already have Twitter, that's great. If you still don't have Twitter, you just later on today or whenever you get an opportunity, it would be really great because tomorrow we're going to do a bit of a social experiment during my keynote. And so we're going to be talking a lot about Twitter and social technology and how it can be used to create social change. And so Twitter is going to be, like I said, a really big part of that. So if you take the opportunity later on today and sign up for it, that'd be really awesome. You can take part in the experiment. So this breakout session is scheduled to be a little over 50 minutes or something like that. So instead of me just strictly talking to you for 15 minutes, which is what you're going to deal with tomorrow, I thought that we would make it a little bit more of a group discussion. I'm going to tell you a little bit about one of my projects. I'm going to break it down for you. It's called 24 Hours, and it's really cool because it's completely planned, led, and executed by kids under the age of 21, which is really, really cool. And it's been replicated all over the country, or all over the United States. And I think we've actually had it go international once or twice. And I'm going to break it down for you, and then I thought I'd ask you guys if you had any ideas on projects, and we can work through them together. Because what better way to learn how to change the world than to actually design a project to do just that. So, like I said, the project is called 24 Hours, and it, I got pictures I'm going to show you guys. But really 24 Hours at its core is where we get youth to simulate being homeless for 24 hours. And so they come together all over the state of Florida, which is where I'm from, and they spend the night in boxes. We have community leaders come out and talk about their experiences with youth homelessness and what they're doing to help alleviate it. And we do leadership building activities, put together some of our backpacks that go out to homeless youth all over the world, which today we've distributed close to 40,000 of those, and all kinds of really cool things. Overall, it's just kind of 24 hours of education and inspiration that deals with youth homelessness. We're just going to keep it going along in case the projector works. So the way that it works is it usually starts at noon on a Friday and runs through noon on a Saturday. And right when the youth or the participants come, we break them up into groups, depending on how many participants we have at that particular event. And they're given a group name, and then they split up, and they go to different stations. So one of the stations will have backpack assembly, another one will have a specific leadership building activity, things like that. And then they'll come together at different times during the event for really large group activities. Like if we have a special speaker come out, and they'll come together, or if we show a documentary or a film, they'll be there for that. And then they also come together at the end and talk a lot about their experiences and how the event has impacted them. And it's always really impressive to see that because for a lot of the kids that come, well, I don't know how much you know about education system in the United States, but we're required to actually have, I want to say, 40 community service hours in order to graduate. And so for a lot of the kids, they come there because it's a great way to get 24 hours of community service in one event. But by the end of it, we ask them, how their experience was and how the event has impacted them. And every single one of them, have always said that it's inspired them to do their own projects and go out into their communities and develop some different ideas. And really, that's what 24 Hours is all about. It's about exposing youth to community service and on planning an event and things like that. And so I thought it would be a really great project to share with you guys because it is very simple, but at the same time, it's very impactful. And so I had, just a couple more pictures, but anyways, I just wanted to give you guys an overview of that. And then, do you guys have any questions for me about 24 hours? No? Okay. All right. There we go.
So this is a concept that this is your thing. You came up with this.
Yes, it's been running for about 7 years now.
And how did you convince other kids to get involved with it? I mean, just to be part of community service, or what kind of? How did you educate people about this stuff?
Actually, using social media, which kind of brings me to that. the Little Red Wagon Foundation, which is the foundation that I started 10 years ago, it was founded in 2004, which, in case you don't know, is actually the exact same year that Facebook was founded. And with the founding of Facebook, social media kind of went from this idea or this theoretical possibility to becoming really mainstream, really widespread, to the point where Facebook actually just publicized a statistic that said that we spend as much time on social media, and specifically Facebook, as we do like showering, brushing our teeth, and things like that. So we spend a lot of time on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, all those different networks. And so social media can be a really, really powerful tool to get the word out and to work with people. And so that's how we do. That's actually how we do a lot of different things. And we've got some really exciting initiatives that I'm going to talk about in my keynote tomorrow. We're working with Twitter on some different initiatives to utilize some of their tools for nonprofits around the world. So it's some really exciting stuff.
So during these 24 hours, do you get people to live the homeless experience?
Exactly. Like I said, it usually starts at noon on a Friday, and the participants come out. They bring their own box, and that's the box that they'll sleep in. We usually try and limit the event to about 50 participants, just so we can keep it manageable. And we have all kinds of different activities, but during the night, we require them to be in their boxes from I think like 12 at midnight to like 6 o'clock in the morning. It's just a really good time for them, obviously, to get some sleep, but to do some reflecting on the event and stuff like that.
What do people usually think when they see like 50 teenagers sleeping in boxes?
Great question. Some people think they're crazy, to be honest, but it's people will come up and ask what's going on, and it's a great time to spread awareness because obviously it's about youth homelessness, and so it's a great opportunity when people say, why are there 50 teenagers living in a box? We can say, well, they're here to learn about youth homelessness, and you should learn about it too.
How often happens?
The Little Red Wagon Foundation hosts them once a year, but other schools, other agencies have replicated the event, so they go on throughout the year all over the world, at different times.
How do you choose the places where the people are going to sleep?
They stay in one place, so it's usually held. Best Buy actually donates. Best Buy is, I don't know if you guys know, a really big. There we go. Is a really big technology store, but they let us use their parking lot for the event, and it's really good. Here's my keynote for you, and this actually has a couple pictures that I'll show you. It disappeared. Okay. There we go. Don't touch. All right, here we go. So, here are some of the pictures. These are actually pictures of some of the boxes that youth have slept in years past. And you can see that they're literally living out of their box, which is pretty cool. And this is a picture of some of them doing some icebreakers right at the very beginning, and just introducing themselves to each other and some different things like that. This is our backpack assembly line going on right here, which is where we assemble the backpacks that have food, personal hygiene, first aid kit, candy pack, and a small toy. Just like I said, we distribute throughout the year all over the world.
What was your experience like? I'm guessing you did the box. You slept in a box every night, right?
Yes, yep, I do it every year.
So what was it like?
It's always a really interesting experience. There's a lot of different things that go on. For one, you're learning a lot about the problem of youth homelessness, which in the United States we have over 1.3 million homeless youth, which is a really, really massive problem. And so you learn a lot about the problem. We have actually homeless youth come out and talk about their own personal experiences, which is always really, really powerful and really impactful. And people always get a lot out of that. And it's really a great opportunity to make friends. exactly that wasn't our initial goal with the project, but we learned afterwards that people that ordinarily wouldn't work together at all, were suddenly coming together for a common purpose. Because like I said, this is completely plan-led and executed by kids under the age of 21. So it's people our age that are planning this and designing it and coming up with all of the content for it. So it's really cool because you have, the jocks working on it, you have, kind of the computer guys, you have everybody coming together for this common purpose. And they end up leaving friends. And that's really cool. And they end up usually working together on other projects, which is really neat too.
Just by sleeping in the box, I don't understand how you get to experience the homeless life. Like, do you limit your food, or what else do you do to ensure that you experience?
So the sleeping in the box is really just one component of it. Really, the main goal of the project is to expose youth to volunteering and to coming up with project ideas and creating a project that they then can see come to fruition. So the sleeping in the box, like I said, most people only spend about 6 hours in their box when they're actually sleeping. The rest of the time, they're actually doing community service projects like putting together the backpacks. They're listening to homeless youth. They are community leaders. They're learning about the problem. So after they leave, because the event is only 24 hours, so after they leave that 24 hours behind, they're still going back into their communities, and they're sharing the problem, and they're working together to come up with ideas on how to solve it, and that's really cool.
What are some ideas that you guys have come up with for actual action?
We have.
Not necessarily you, but just kind of your project. Did anyone tell you about it from the beginning?
Yes, they have come back, and I'm trying to think.
Africa,
Yeah.
when you worked in Uganda, rebuilding the school, they come back and talk to you all the time.
Right.
Jolly, text every day.
Yeah. But as far as 24 hours, were you asking about that particular project in particular?
Sorry?
Were you asking about 24 hours in particular?
No.
Or just projects in general?
I was interested, but did anyone tell you about something? Because you said, I thought it was really interesting that you said that they all, because it is really impactful, in your lives, because they really go through a really different experience. So did anyone tell you about a project they set up for this?
Yes, actually. And there was a kid that wasn't necessarily directly part of one of our 24 hours, but he created, he was designing a Lego program, where because when he was younger, he was really, really into Legos, and so he had literally like thousands and thousands of Legos that he had no use for anymore. He didn't really play with anymore. And we thought it would be really cool to take them and design kits with his leftover Legos, and then put them into like Ziploc bags and with like instructions on how to do like different activities with them, and then give them out to kids in hospitals, which is a really cool idea, and also kind of unrelated to homelessness, but it just kind of shows how like I said, the project isn't just about youth homelessness, but it's about exposing youth to to volunteering in general. So.
I think she was asking more though, like, projects that you've done internationally, and have you stayed in touch with those people?
Was that more along the lines of your question?
No, it's okay.
Do I? Okay. Any other questions?
Is this only done in Florida, or do you have it in other states as well?
No, like I said, it's been replicated throughout the world actually. Different colleges, different schools, other agencies have actually done the event. It's really cool. Because it is so simple, it's really easy to design and implement.
And what do people usually say to you after this experience? Like, how do they react?
Yeah, so like I said, at the very beginning, we have all of them tell us why they're there, and oftentimes there's usually quite a few of them that tell us that they're there just because they need community service hours. And I mean, I'm being honest here. But we do the same thing at the end, and we ask them, how they felt about the project, and if they would ever do it again, or how it's impacted them. And every single one of them say that, that it completely changed their outlook on, community service, and that, that it encouraged encourage them to go back into their own communities, regardless of whatever their passion was, whether it was with youth homelessness, or we've had youth go into working with animals, which I don't remember the details of that project, but she went back out and started working with like veterinary clinics with animals, and some like really cool different things. So sometimes it's not directly with youth homelessness, but kind of whatever they're interested in.
Did you have any kind of training for parents to support their kids participating in this kind of a project? Because the school where I work in Brazil, I work with some very, very wealthy students whose parents are very protective of them. Some of the kids come to school with protection, and getting buy-in from the parents is often much more difficult than getting buy-in from the kids. So I'm wondering, is there some kind of activities or training that you provide the families of students who are young people who are interested in participating in this kind of project?
We don't have anything specially designed for parents. I mean, we have worked with parents, but it's usually more on a one-on-one basis. It's not necessarily a program that we've designed, but it is something that we struggle with a lot because we've had youth come to us with projects, really, really great projects and ideas, and their parents shoot them down. And that's always really, really tough to see. And we always do whatever we can, try and convince the parents otherwise. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's really tough. Yeah.
Okay, so not only do you have the bags as a part of the project, but do you actually have something that will get the people off the streets?
So the backpacks, like I said, have all the basic supplies, which is enough to sustain a child for a little while. But the backpacks, what they're usually used for is not only for that, but as an outreach, kind of like a olive branch kind of. Because for a lot of the kids living on the streets in the United States, they've been burnt by the system so many times. With programs that promise that they're going to help them and they don't, or things like that. That it's really tough for the kids to trust adults. And so the backpacks are kind of a way to say, look, we really want to help you, and to show you that, here's kind of an olive branch so that you will trust us. And as a result of that, we've heard countless stories of kids that have gotten into programs because the backpacks were used as kind of a first step. And now, some of them are in college, some of them are in technical schools, but in all the situations that we've heard, they're in much better places than when they started out.
And just to follow up, do you usually go to homeless people of any age or just younger homeless?
Just youth. So the backpacks are designed a lot for street youth, so kids that are living directly on the streets, often by themselves. We have other backpacks that are designed for kids that are in like shelters, or we have back-to-school backpacks that have a lot of school supplies and things like that. But for the youth that are on the street, we work with kind of 0 to 23, mostly up to 18, but depending on who you ask, youth kind of ranges up to 23. So,
Have you ever had a situation in which the volunteers didn't cooperate?
No, I mean it's a really good question.
Was there like, because you say there are like students who are doing this just for the hours, right? To graduate. So
Yeah.
have you ever had a situation where one of them they don't take it seriously? Like, what
I mean, for the kids that want to do community service hours, that's usually how they start off. Within a couple of hours, they usually have completely changed their idea of what's going on, and they usually get really, really into it. We've never had a major issue with one of the participants. Well, what are you talking
You
about?
probably don't remember. But yeah, sometimes you'll have kids that,
What are you talking about?
back in the very beginning, you gotta remember Zach was like 7 years old when he started doing 24 hours, so yeah, y'all have kids that kind of will act out, but the thing that keeps like, I think y'all can probably identify that you'll probably behave better for your peers than you will for an adult teacher, because if all your peers are doing something, you're gonna wanna do something, and you're not gonna wanna like really stand out, you know. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Because that's usually what happens, because I'm usually the adult, one of the adults that's there, but the kids that are 18 and under are usually the group leaders and the ones that are actually out there doing everything during the whole project. And so the kids that are participating are more likely to behave for them than they will for the adults. And I think that's what keeps them. And if they don't behave, they leave. We just tell them, if you don't want to be here, do it, call the parents, and they go home. Simple, because no point in being there.
But generally, we don't have too many issues.
No, because they want to behave for their peers.
Now that you said that there was one time where we had kind of issues. But yeah. Any other questions? Okay. Oh.
So when people sign up, like, do they fill out like information about themselves, or how do you like decide who gets to come to the event?
It's generally kind of a first come first serve kind of ideal or kind of deal. We reach out to when we do the event, we reach out to different schools, different clubs, and things like that. And then the first 50 participants who sign up get to be a part of the event. And then that's pretty much it. And yeah, so it's kind of just first come first serve.
For the one that you host, do you just get people from like your area, like community, or do you get people from all over Florida, all over the states?
All over Florida, actually. We've had them come down from like northern Florida. And a couple of times we've had them come from like really down in the south. But for the most part, because Tampa is kind of right in the middle, so you know it's a good spot to time to do an event to draw people in. So.
Have you had like people from another country come and like, let's say like you're in Florida and they have like come?
Not necessarily for this event. The event has been held other places where that's happened, but not really for hours that we design and we manage. So.
Do you know in what Latin American countries they actually replicated this event?
I don't know if it's ever been done in Latin America. I don't think so.
I think so. It's been done in like Europe and Asia, I think.
But I don't think it's been here.
So y'all can take back to your school. It's wide open.
And what inspired you to start this project?
Before I started this, I started the Little Rock Viking Foundation, which is designed to work, which is what I founded, to work with homeless youth, kids in underfunded schools, kids affected by natural disasters, things like that. And so this was kind of just a logical progression for us. We wanted to create a project that would encourage youth to get involved and would help raise awareness at the same time. And this is kind of what came about. And then over the years, we've fine-tuned it and made it work as to its optimal capacity, I guess.
How could we get it started in our own schools? Like, is there a website that says, like, there's a schedules and stuff like that? Or?
We like to leave it open to to whoever's taking charge of the project, to let them kind of design exactly what they want to happen. Usually, people just reach out to me personally, and then I help them work out the details. Sometimes we'll travel out and actually go to the event, and sometimes I'll speak, sometimes not. But we like to allow the schools or the groups that take charge of it to really take charge of it, so that we're not micromanaging it.
You said you use social networking to advertise it, right?
Absolutely.
How did you do that again?
Well, we do it a lot of different ways, mostly through just building a social network database. For my personal Twitter account, I have about 10,000 people on it, and so that's really a great way for us to do it. But it's, once we also use it kind of as a volunteer management system as well. It's a great way for us to work with youth, because how many of you check your email like constantly? Okay, Okay, well, you guys are kind of an exception. For most youth, or at least in the United States, if I asked that question, there'd be like one kid and probably me. But if I asked how many people check Facebook every 30 seconds, it's usually every single person. And so using Facebook as a way to communicate with our volunteers, especially like our under 18 volunteers, it's a really, really great way. So that's how we use social media a lot. And we also use it to pressure companies, actually. One time I needed deodorant for a project we were doing for some of our personal hygiene kits for a backpack program. And it was right at the same time that the Old Spice Man, do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, when he got really, really popular and he went super viral. And so we weren't getting any response from Old Spice to get the deodorant donated. And so I sent out a tweet asking Old Spice to donate the stuff, and I sent it to the Old Spice Man. And then we had all of our followers retweet it, and then their followers retweeted it, and so forth. And I think it was within an hour, I got an email from Old Spice saying, "Hey, we'll donate whatever you want." So that's another way that we use it, because because social media is so powerful. It's not even so much about just reaching individuals, but about reaching entire groups and companies in some cases.
How do you financially sustain your donations? Do you have
We
sponsors?
we do have sponsors. They're usually specific to events. Actually next Friday, I'm going to attempt to break the world record for the most food collected in a 24-hour period in one location. And so we have Walmart on board for that. It's one of our sponsors, and a bunch of other corporations and community partners that are sponsoring it. We've had McDonald's come on as a sponsor a couple of times for different projects, and some other restaurants. But a lot of it actually comes from private donors, from just individuals donating $5, $10, things like that. And we try and get the word out as best as we can. And as a result of that, we get donations. And it works.
I see on the shirt that the guy has.
Yeah.
Are the like signs in the back the sponsors thing?
Yes. So if you look right in the middle, do you guys know what Build-A-Bear Workshop is?
Yeah.
Okay, Build-A-Bear Workshop has actually been one of our sponsors from pretty much the very beginning. They sponsor a lot of our projects. So Build-A-Bear, the one kind of right in the middle in between our shoulder blades, is Build-A-Bear's foundation logo. But you can see McDonald's kind of on the left, Best Buy's on the right. We had Outback Steakhouse as a sponsor. So some pretty cool companies.
How do you recommend approaching these projects? Obviously, you're an established person with an initial following. How would you recommend, just an average person approach a large sponsor?
Well, when I first started out, I was just a regular person. I still am. But I didn't have a foundation, and I didn't have a lot of experience. To be honest, I just cast a really wide net, and I caught a couple of fish, and that's how I did it. I sent out 100 emails, and I hoped for one response, and sometimes I got one, sometimes I get any, sometimes I got 10. It just kind of depends. But my advice is just cast a really wide net. You're gonna get a lot of no's, I can promise that, but somewhere in there you will find yeses, and that's what really counts. As Marina said this morning, don't take no for an answer. Just because somebody tells you that they're not going to support your project, don't let that keep you from doing it. Because there is someone out there that will support you, and they